How are you? Thank you for having me back. I believe this is what they call Southern hospitality. What's up, guys? So we've done this once before, but I'm always much more attractive when I'm sitting next to this particular person. So special guest moderator just for you guys, my lovely, beautiful wife, Cassandra G.
Hi guys, I love Nashville.
You're a pro at this.
Well, I'm from the South, and to me Nashville's kind of like a cousin of Austin. I'm from Texas, and I love it here. I feel at home. So I'm glad we get to come back.
Okay, moderator, what do we do?
Well, you just finished filming this season, right?
Yes.
So retrospectively, I know not everything is aired yet, but what was your favorite moment leading up to the end of the season?
Well, I think that the last scene in the finale, which I'm about to describe in great detail, was probably... my favorite moment this season was probably...
Crossover.
I think maybe the crossover, and just that whole experience, and getting to work with some people that I haven't worked with before, and getting to play a villain, and then also the experience of people getting to watch that, because I think that that was the full expression of what our shows can be, and the richness of the universe, and and then Oliver and Felicity get to get married, and all that fun stuff. It's good.
Okay, so as we get people to line up here for questions, you said villain. If you could design a villain for the upcoming season, what would be your ideal conflict and your most interesting interaction with Green Arrow and Oliver Green?
I mean, if Oliver was ever able to fight a sibling, that would be amazing.
That's a really good one, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
well, just in general, like the idea of a familial dynamic, which I think sort of we got that a little bit with Prometheus insofar as he was so akin and like Oliver, but I think it would be fun if Oliver got to fight a sibling.
Well, I think that is a great answer, and I think we can get started with questions from the audience. Let's start with this guy right here on the right in the Bengals jersey.
Yes, ma'am. Hi, Stephen.
How you doing?
I'm doing well, thank you. My comment first is thank you for accepting the role, because I don't think without the success of Arrow, I don't think all the other CW shows would be successful, and that's even Gotham with all the DC universe. So thank you for that.
And just to quickly clarify, accepting is not what actually happened, okay? I got offered it after effectively begging for it, and if they had made me pay them $100 to be in each episode in the first season as opposed to actually paying me, I would have done it.
Well, my question is, and this is even going to be better with your wife up there, is, I guess I'll word it like this. Is sometimes does your family get upset with the writers, because let's face it, sometimes on that show, you are not a nice person.
Okay, well, as family, I'm going to go ahead and start with that one. I would say no, because I'm an actor myself, and coming from the industry, you know that it's not real, and that you get to have a little fun. I think it's more fun when you get to play evil or do not nice things, because it's atypical of your personality in real life, and so it lets you have a little fun and be someone that you're not and play pretend.
Our daughter knows that I'm kidding. Even when I do the most heinous things. Dad, you're being so funny. And I mean, even like she has been on set a couple of times now. She was on set the day that Diaz and I really go at it in 621, like that fight. She helped put fake blood on me. She gets it. She gets it.
Thank you for being here. We love you.
Thank you, man.
All right, over here.
Hey, Stephen and Cassandra. I'm Suzette.
Hi.
I'm from Franklin.
And I have two questions now that you're here, Mom. The first one is to you, Stephen, and I'm a polyglot. Do you know what that is?
No.
It's someone who can speak and use numerous languages.
Okay.
So, I was wondering, with all of the different languages that you have learned or had to use, do you remember anything? And
I mean, I've forgotten French, and I'm Canadian, which means that I had to take it almost all through high school. It's gone. I mean, I can hear the French language and get the general shape of what's happening, but if I ever had to have any type of discourse whatsoever, that would not work for me at all. Although I guess my sister is a polyglot. Yeah, Andrea is a polyglot.
okay, awesome. The next one, first of all, Cassandra Jean
Amell, yeah.
not Emily Beth Ricard.
That's right. They messed that up in Louisville.
So, yeah.
I love that. I thought that was hilarious.
Yeah. But could either of you ever see your daughter with a cameo appearance?
In Arrow?
Yes.
No.
She's going to get you for that.
No, Cass says all the time, like, Maddie's not allowed to do any type of film or acting or whatever until age, throws up like an arbitrary number, like 18. And I go, okay, sure. Yes.
She's definitely very musically inclined, and she loves the stage. So I think we could probably support
She
her
asked
doing-
for a stage for Christmas one year. So I think the chances are pretty high that
We'll see. Open-ended.
Yeah, and it'll be when you guys have the musical crossover show, right?
No, that would play into her not being on Arrow, because that's not going to happen on Arrow.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Right over here.
All right, so my mic is on. My name is Bobby, and listen, I'm not saying I haven't been fan-struck with Stephen. Listen, not to be a spoiler, listen, I'm only on season 4.
Okay.
So thank you for your ending kind of spoiler at the next season.
You might be at the wrong panel.
Listen, that's okay. That's okay. Listen, my 15-year-old son got me into it probably 6 months ago or so.
Nice.
And
Okay.
I've been every night, 4 episodes.
Very cool, man.
Matthew, it's got me going. Dude, you're doing great. It's actually really fun. I'm here for you, but listen, your biggest fan is here, and I want to introduce her to you. Her name is Maria Chapman, and I'm sure everyone's a big fan, but this lady is a fan. Doesn't even really know what to ask you, but she wants to just maybe say something to you. She's got your wine, she's got everything, and she's got a question for you.
I've never had someone introduce to me before. So, I mean, from an anticipatory standpoint, you're a clear number 1 right now.
Yeah, bonus points for creativity.
I'm a little starstruck, so excuse me. I want to know, what's your favorite color?
How long have you been thinking about this question?
I've watched you many panels, and always say, nobody ever asked you what your favorite color is. So I am.
My favorite color is Elsa blue. I have no choice. Very nice to meet you, Maria.
All right, thank you very much.
Hi guys. So
Hey.
first of all, how are you?
Couldn't be better. We love it here.
Well, good. So I've seen on social media that you and Jared Padalecki and Jensen Ackles are very close. I am a big Supernatural fan. Have a couple tattoos
Hey
on
now.
my back to prove it. So I see on social media that you guys are all the time pulling pranks on one another. And
Yep.
I want to know what your favorite prank that you have pulled on them or that they have pulled on you.
Well, I just like when Jared and Jensen I like when they make fun of me. Because I would hope that it means that they like me. And their admiration and love is so very important to me. No, actually, being the lead on the show and having two guys like that to look to, you know, I guess the natural person that people would think that I would look to in this situation would be Tom Welling. But I only met Tom Welling for the very first time this past March. You know, I met Jensen first, but Jared shortly thereafter, right when we were starting Arrow. And there really wasn't a better person for me to bounce questions off of and to look to. I mean, the director of our pilot, David Nutter, told me about Jared and Jensen before I knew what Supernatural was, because he was the director of their pilot. And he said, you know, if you're looking for an example of, you know, how to treat the crew, how to treat your fans, and how to just go about your business, look no further than those two guys. And I have, right? So if we ever play pranks on one another, what's the name of the car in Supernatural?
Baby, or a 1911
Okay.
Chevy Impala.
So yeah, Baby was in Chicago, and I got in the car and I made a joke about how the inside of it smelled like 13 seasons worth of farts. And Supernatural fans were not happy with me.
Didn't you
Don't mess with Baby.
Didn't you lose a bet and send like $1,000 worth of coins to Jared?
Yeah,
Because
Jared.
that might be one of my favorites.
This was my favorite. Okay, yeah, thank you, Cass. Glad you're here. Jared and I bet on the American League Championship Series when the Jays were playing, and it was the second year that they were in it, and they were playing the Indians, and they had just beaten the Rangers, and Jensen had gotten mad at me, like legitimately mad at me, because I was making fun of the Rangers, because whatever. And so Jared and I bet $1,000 on the American League Championship Series, and I lost, and I paid him in loonies.
Which are dollar coins for
$1 coin.
For those of the non-Canadian folk here.
It's like
Which I think is almost everybody.
40 pounds worth of loonies, and I handed them to him, and he was like, "No, seriously?" And I said, "Well, what do you want from me?" And I ran into him like 2 years later, and he like goes into his drawer and opens it up, and he's like, "I don't know what to do with these when you take them back." Good guys.
All right, over here.
Thank you.
Hi, Stephen. Hi, Cassie. Happy Mother's Day.
Oh, thank you.
So that's a
Oh shoot!
yeah, you're in trouble.
Is it today?
It's tomorrow.
Oh, thank goodness.
But I am actually here not for myself, but we are actually celebrating, my family and I are here with our mother, celebrating Mother's Day and her birthday.
Fantastic.
So, it's not a question but a favor. Would you please sing Happy Birthday to my mother, Roxanne?
Only if Roxanne stands up.
Yes,
She...
yes.
Hey, Roxanne. Okay, I'll start and then join me when you think it's appropriate, okay?
Yes.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Roxanne. Happy birthday to you. And happy Mother's Day.
Thank you so much.
All right, over here, Starlock.
I just want to say thank you so much for coming out. And I was going to say, have you ever like snuck a prop or anything on the show? Have you gotten to keep any props or anything?
I stole the bow from the pilot.
I was going to say stole and keep are two very different things.
Sorry, my bad. I accidentally brought the bow home from the pilot. That was in 2012, and I'll remember to bring it back any day now. You're welcome.
Hi, I'm Gracie. I'm
Hi.
from Alaska.
Hey.
I was wondering, it's more of a personal question for you guys. Do you want any more children?
Wow. I mean, that just went to level 11 real quick, didn't it?
Yeah, so by more of a personal question, you meant definitely a personal question. You know what? Our lives are pretty busy right now, and I think we're very happy with the way we're in a really good groove, and we're very happy with the way things are right now. So.
I think that also our daughter's about to start school in California, because that's where our home base is, and that's where we're going to be whenever the show comes to an end. But I think that as long as the show is going on, I think that we'll sort of stick with where we're at. But we've always also said that I don't think that our family is done at 3, but I don't know what that means.
Open-ended.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi.
Hi.
My name is Addison.
What's up, Addison?
How do you think William has changed Oliver?
Well, I think he certainly made him more compassionate. I think that he has hopefully made him more conscientious and a little less reckless. And the funniest thing this year with Jack, who plays William, is I'll go 2 weeks without seeing him and he'll come back. He's like an inch taller every time. By the finale, he's taller than Emily. No, but the introduction of William and that dynamic, I think, has been really important. And just important to be able to add layers to a character and add different dimensions and add different things that he finds important or she finds important. Because, you know, it's not easy to create 6 seasons of television and to keep people interested. So I think he's made him more considerate, conscientious, and a little less reckless.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, so this has been like a dream of mine forever. Sorry, I'm Dominique. Hi.
Hi, Dominique.
Hi.
I love you, by the way. And so does my little one, Michaela. Stand up right there.
Hi, Michaela.
So my question is, do you do anything special to like prepare for, you know, just work? Like, is there any ritual or special candy you have to have or something?
I will tell you that the absolute best preparation that I can do for work is 8 solid hours of sleep.
That's a good answer.
I mean, but that's the answer. I mean, really, being able to be, you know, of sound mind and body, and to be on set and to feel rested, just has a trickle-down effect for everything else. So I'd say that's the most important thing.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello.
Hey, man.
Huge fan of the show.
Thank you.
And I'm a huge motorcycle fan, so I was wondering if you really do ride Ducatis outside the show, or somebody else rides them for you.
If that Ducati is running, they don't let me within 10 feet of it. I've never actually ridden a motorcycle in my entire life, which I understand might be crushing your soul a little bit right now. But they just don't let me do it. I rode a Vespa once, although that might crush your soul even a little bit more.
It's a motorcycle.
Sure. No, so, I mean, sometimes when Cass and I go away, we get scooters. Oh man, I'm making it worse. No,
That's just for him.
I would love to. I would love to, but no, they don't let me anywhere near that thing. What kind of bike do you ride?
Harley Davidson.
Very cool.
Triumph.
Very cool. Well, stay safe and wear a helmet.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay.
Is anyone seeing double?
Well, this is nice. Someone just reclaimed by the summer holders. Bob Summer. Okay. Oh, you know who gets this at the end of the panel?
Me. The guy with the mic.
No.
Shoot your shot.
No, the mom whose birthday it is that we sang happy birthday. Roxanne, thank you. So Roxanne, come side stage afterwards and we'll take care of you here. Now, will someone take this away from me because I'm freaking out right now? What's up, man?
Let's pick it up here.
What's going on? My name's Ty. I actually work for a TV show here in Nashville. Hopefully I'll be working for the CW soon. So if you want to help me out.
What do you do for the show?
PA for the show in Nashville, but
Nice.
I want to write.
Good for you.
Cool. It's dope for coming out, so thank you for that. My question would be, if you could play any character, hero or villain in the DCEU, who would it be?
You mean like in the films?
Yeah.
I ask this question all the time. I think, and I always say this, and it always makes headlines like I'm trying to angle to be in the movies. I think probably the Riddler.
That'd be fly. That'd be fly.
Thank you, man.
Appreciate it, Stephen. Best of luck, man.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Sarah. I'm like the biggest Olicity fan ever.
Okay.
So I wanted to know what your favorite Olicity moment from the whole show is.
Well, I mean, I think that in general, I liked in season 2 the sort of will they, won't they moments. That's always fun. I mean, you can't recreate that. That can only happen one time. I really enjoyed the scene in season 5 where Oliver goes to her to ask her not to go out into the field. And, you know, she says no. And he says, well, then I'm going to have to stop you. And she says, fine, try. And I thought that was a cool scene. And then this is always sort of a cheeky thing to say, but we have a really beautiful scene in the finale. And it meant a lot to me because Emily came up to me afterwards and said that, you know, if there was no other scene throughout season 6, that scene would have made it worth it for her. So that meant a lot to me, because clearly it meant a lot to her. So I think people will enjoy that scene, even if it's maybe a little sad.
Now you have me really pumped for the season finale.
That's the idea, right?
That's the idea.
I'm ready.
Thank you.
No, I'm not.
Hi.
Hey.
I'm like super nervous. Okay. I'm Holly, and I'm here with my twin Noelle, and we're huge fans of you and Jared and Jensen.
Okay.
Okay. But my question is, if you were ever jumped, would you be able to fight them off arrow style?
By Jared and Jensen?
By Jared and Jensen?
Sure.
Are we creating a fantasy for you during the podcast?
If I can get all my men together, that would be a dream. Hi.
I would not be able to fight them off arrow style. Jared Padalecki is freakishly strong. You even have to add Jensen into the mix. Jared, we'll be out at a party and all of a sudden I'll be like, what's happening? And he's just picked me up and like put me on his shoulder. Freakishly strong. Or he'll be like, let's try some kickboxing right now. And I'll be like, let's not, Jared. So no, I don't think I'd be able to fight him off. I mean, I'd certainly be able to outsmart them, but I wouldn't be able to fight them off.
I love you.
Thank you, Holly.
Hi, Heck. I'm really nervous. I want to say thank you for like the show because this got me into superheroes. And my question was for both of you. What are your favorite moments with Mavi?
That's a good question.
That is a good question. It's tough to narrow it down to a simple answer.
There's definitely an upcoming, while you think of a favorite moment, there's an upcoming favorite moment. On Wednesday, we're going to go see Frozen on Broadway. And Colin Donnell, who played Tommy Merlin on the show, his wife, Patty, plays Princess Anna. So, and Mavi has a custom dress made for it because her life sucks. And I think that will get us some cool parent points. My current favorite moment, though, is her favorite thing to do right now is to walk up to strangers when we're out in public together and tell them that I'm the Green Arrow.
I'm Mavi. My dad's the Green Arrow. That's pretty good. I think my favorite moment, she loves to sing and dance. And so watching her really get into performing and singing and dancing and then getting to Ty and going to not just Frozen, but we take her to a lot of shows at just local theater and traveling off Broadway and such. So any of that, I think seeing her really, really happy and joyous in that would probably be her.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, I'm Patrick, and I loved A Matter of Trust with Cody Rhodes.
Yeah.
How did you have any interest in wrestling prior to the episode, or did you guys?
Boy, did he.
I mean, wrestling was my thing growing up. You know, people like comic books, some people like superhero movies, some people like Fortnite. I don't know what Fortnite is, but some people like it. Wrestling was my thing. So getting to experience that, I'm gonna, and then getting to work with Cody, become friends with him, We're going to do another wrestling show in Chicago on September 1st. Labor Day weekend on September 1st. And I'm excited for that because that's a big deal for him because it's probably going to be the biggest independent wrestling show ever. And tickets go on sale tomorrow. I didn't plant my man here to ask this question, but tickets do actually go on sale tomorrow. So, yeah, I'm glad you enjoyed it, man. Thank you.
Nice costume.
Thank you.
Are you warm enough?
Yeah, a little bit. Thank you for coming out.
Of course.
I want to thank you for doing the conventions and all the hard work that you put in. I follow you on Facebook to see all the workout videos that you post. And it's really grueling what you have to do. So thank you. We as fans appreciate that.
Thanks, man.
And someone earlier asked how Williams changed Oliver in season 6. My question is, how have you as a person changed as both an actor and a person following with Oliver's changes throughout the show?
How long do we have? No, I mean when I got this show, I was you know a dude living in an apartment in Hollywood, having just met my soon to be wife a couple of years later, and 6 years on. I'm fundamentally different. I'm older, that's for sure. I have a wife and a daughter and a family and a very wide ranging set of responsibilities. Whereas I used to sort of just be beholden to myself, I'm now, in my mind, responsible for not just my family, but a lot of the people that count on the show. You only have to have a crew member ask you what you're doing on the weekend, and you're like, oh, I'm going to go up and I'm going to go on a zip lining course, and you only have to have a crew member say, please be careful, you pay my mortgage, so many times before you realize that they actually mean it. And I mean, not to say that these people aren't capable, they would be able to find things outside of the show, and they will one of these days, but I do feel very responsible, and I would hope that that's made me more generous and more conscientious. I would hope.
That's wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Jameson. I'm a huge fan. You have not failed this city.
I mean, I haven't sung karaoke yet tonight, so let's hold.
Oh, so that's why they don't like musical crossovers.
Oh.
But yeah, huge fan.
Thanks, man.
If you have one favorite big villain, who would it be?
I'm always partial. I'm very partial to Josh's portrayal of Adrian Chase. I just think that was a very very personal thing, and just Prometheus, much like in the way that David Ramsey created Diggle, Josh created Prometheus. A lot of that stuff he had to arc out for himself, and I thought that he brought the best out of me, and hopefully I brought the best out of him. But I just thought that the way that storyline wrapped up, I thought that made it the best.
And one more question.
Sure.
Who's your favorite co-star?
Who's my favorite co-star?
Yes.
What's your question, please? Pick my favorite co-star.
Who's your favorite family member?
Me.
There you go.
Thank you.
Thank you. Star Labs again.
Hi. If you weren't an actor, what would you want to be?
I get this question all the time. I think that when you go after something that you're really passionate about, whatever that may be, that doesn't have to be acting, it could be dentistry, it doesn't matter. If you're really passionate about it, it becomes incredibly difficult to think about what you would do outside of it, because every choice that I've made leading up to where I am now, I was always going to be an actor. So, I don't know. I think that being in the industry has proven that I like working with people and working on behalf of people. So, maybe something in the field of philanthropy, but I know that that's a little bit of a vague answer. I honestly don't know. I really don't.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Michael.
Hey, Michael.
Thanks for everything you do. It's really entertaining.
Thank you.
Our family entertaining. But
Your chest is on fire. No, something.
A little bit. So I wanted to know how you got into acting. Did you go to college or take classes, or just got into it on
I
your
got
own?
into acting. I did my first play when I was in 10th grade, and I went to school for acting for a year after high school, after doing a lot of plays in high school. And then I got away from it for a couple of years, and then I just did it sort of, you know, here and there, but I could never really string job A to job B to job C and see a progression, which you should see, like in any other career. But then I just, you know, had one of those moments of clarity that young men tend to have in their late 20s when they realize that they're not the master of the universe. And I tried to take stock of what was important to me in my life, and it was family, and friends, and acting. It really came up. So when I moved to LA, that's what made it really clear for me.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi.
Hey.
So I have a thank you because without you, it really wouldn't be this phenomenon. I have been the nerd girl forever, and I finally feel like myself for once.
That's great.
So,
fantastic.
So my statement to you, though, is a year ago, the 27th, I had a stroke.
Yeah.
And I survived, and I'm walking, talking. They didn't think I could do anything, and I watched Arrow to get me through those days I couldn't get out of bed.
Yeah.
And I have a weird request, probably not weird and totally respectful to you, but can I totally get a hug?
Yes, of course you can.
Aww.
Okay, let's do it. By the way, before we take the next question, I'm going to be in New York on Thursday for the CW Upfronts, and I get to make a really fun announcement, and the CW is just so freaked out that I'm going to spoil it at some point during this panel.
Let's pick it up over here.
Hi, I'm Vasilisa, and yeah, my family is really huge fans of the Arrow and all the TV shows you do. So I wanted to ask if, for the crossover, was it like hard or strange playing the doppelganger of your character and having to fight the doppelganger, you know?
I mean, again, I really, really loved the opportunity to play a villain, and I liked being able to craft that character because I wanted. Obviously, there are some intrinsic elements that are going to be the same as the Oliver that we know, but I also wanted to make sure that he was very different. One of the first scenes that I shot for that was, because we certainly don't shoot it sequentially, and it was later on when things are starting to go bad, and it was scripted and written in the stage direction that evil Oliver is super mad and angry and yelling, and I delivered the line in the most calm, rational way possible, and the director was like, is that how you're gonna do it? And I was like, yeah. I'm like, well, the character notes, and I was like, what character notes? No one's ever seen this character before. This is my character. So I really did enjoy it. It's nice to have challenges, right? Because I'm used to playing the hero, even when Oliver makes bad decisions. He's supposed to be the hero of the story, but when you're a villain, you're the hero of your own story. So I wanted to make sure that all of the things that version of the character did, rang true, for me at least. It was a blast.
I think I might like you better as a villain.
But not as a Nazi.
No! Blanket villain statement. Next over here.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Kylie Parker.
Hi.
My mom wanted me to get a shout out for my dad because he's a first sergeant in the U.S. Army.
Oh, very cool.
We just wanted, yeah.
Well, what's his name?
Jeffrey Barker.
Jeffrey Barker, a huge shout out to him. Is he currently deployed?
No, but he's about to leave for a year.
Okay. Where's he gonna go?
He's going to El Paso to train.
Okay. Is that tough? I mean, that's a silly question, but is it tough to be without your dad for, you know, like an extended period of time?
It is, but in the end, it's worth it because he's fighting for our country. So I have a couple questions.
Okay.
First, what's your favorite scene out of all of the seasons?
Ever?
Yes.
That's a long catalog he's got to go through quite quickly.
I'm going though. No, I'm doing it. I'm doing it. It's probably the first scene that we ever shot. The first day of production, which is the scene where Oliver is being interrogated by those three guys, and then all of a sudden he flips the switch and does terrible things to all three of them. But we filmed that entire sequence over the course of 2 days, and you know, throughout that time, I'm getting the director showing me notes that are coming in from the studio that he's not supposed to show me, like, yes, this is awesome. Or I'm having Glenn Winter, who is our director of photography, come up to me and has since gone on to, you know, direct many, many pilots and good episodes of Arrow, and may come back this year actually to direct. We have one new director this year that I'm very excited about, but I'll let that person share the news when time comes. But shooting that scene and seeing it all come together will always be the most meaningful and impactful moment for me, because I knew that we were on the right track.
And my other question is, what made you want to do this role? Like, was there anything in your life that made you want to do it?
Well, rent. I'm serious.
Yep.
Rent. It was an important factor. It seemed like the right time. You know, I had just been on an HBO show that had gotten canceled, which ended up being incredibly fortuitous, and I was working on Private Practice with Amy Brenneman and Paul Adelstein and a great cast of characters, and really enjoying myself. But it was my first pilot season where I felt really poised to go after something. This was the first script I got, the first audition I got. I was the first one in the room, and I don't think you can ignore that timing. I think that everything was lined up for this to be the role that really defined the first part of my career.
I agree. Thank you.
Thank
Do
you.
a couple more.
Hi, my name is Ridua. Recently in The Flash, there was a musical episode, and I wondered if you were going to do one.
It keeps coming back.
It does keep coming up.
Actually today.
I mean, hopefully we can see Oliver sing at some point before it's all said and done, but it'd probably be in a bar by himself in front of a piano that he can't even play. No, I quite admire the ability certainly for Grant and Melissa to be so musically inclined, but I don't think either of them can do the salmon ladder, so I'll stick with my talents.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi.
Hey.
My family's over there. They're really big fans.
Hi, family.
Hi.
We have a few questions.
Okay.
My uncle wants to know what your favorite season is and why, and you can't not choose.
Okay. Favorite season is always going to be season 1. This is not a commentary on. It's not a commentary on quality or story. It's a commentary on. It feels like the biggest accomplishment, right? Because we go into that season not guaranteed to have a full season. And by the time I got to episode 5 in that season, I had worked more on Arrow than I had ever worked on anything in my entire life. So to be able to get through it, the moment that I got through it, Cass and I went on a vacation, and within 24 hours, I was really, really sick. My body shut down. I was incredibly sick. She was pregnant and tired. We were a dream couple.
You were a mess.
I had this beautiful vacation resort, both in our rooms in flop sweats going, So season 1.
And my
mom always talks about you, and she wants to know, are your abs real?
I can confirm that they are.
I see her. I see her.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Ann. My kids just asked you a bunch of questions on the side. They got me into watching all the Arrowverse shows.
Yeah.
And we pretty much became couch potatoes. So thank you for all the fun.
You're welcome.
But my question is, if Oliver was going to get a superpower, which superpower would you like him to have? Fly.
Patience. I'm always going to be incredibly partial to flying. Flying's the one that I've always wanted.
There's got to be an arrow that turns into a cape or something.
Sure.
Sure.
I think that there may be a way for Oliver to have a superpower this year as the CW gets more and more and more nervous. Nervous.
Thank you. Let's do it. What, 1, 2, 2 more?
Thank you. Two more is perfect.
Hey, Stephen. My name is James.
What's up, man?
I just had a couple questions for you.
Sure.
I remember hearing that you had wanted to work on Spartacus before you did Arrow, and you've also worked with many actors from Spartacus. Just how's that experience been for you?
Well, I wanted to work on Spartacus insofar as I auditioned to play Spartacus when they made the decision to replace Andy. I flew to New Zealand, I auditioned for it. Somewhere there exists a photo of me in the Spartacus outfit. I keep asking my manager for it. I think it would be a great throwback Thursday, but he can't find it. But it has been great, whether it be Manu or Katrina or Liam, who I've gotten to know. It's been really great working with those actors.
Awesome. And just, one more thing. I know you play a character that does a lot of martial arts, and Dave Ramsey has a lot of martial arts background. Have you ever considered doing the combat sports?
No. Maybe 7 years ago before the show, but I think Cass will tell you, we were on vacation over the Christmas break, and we did a ropes course. I've talked about this. When I was in the middle of the ropes course, I had a full-on panic attack. And I've never had one before in my entire life. So, people who have come and talked to me since then, there's no way to describe it except I felt like a weight was crushing my chest, and I was sweating profusely, and I couldn't catch my breath, but I was also incredibly in tune with what was happening. Like everything was going in slow motion, even though it seemed to be out of control. It was no fun. And they're no joke. And anyone that suffers from them, or anyone that has issues with crowds and has worked hard to be in a space like you are today, I really applaud you, because being brave and trying to encounter those things head on is the best thing that you can do, in my opinion.
Thank you.
The reason that I had it, and the reason that I wouldn't do stuff like combat sports, is because I was up there on this ropes course going, I have a wife and a kid. What am I doing up here, right? And it would be the same with combat sports. I'd be in the middle of the octagon, and the bell would ring, and I'd go, wait. What am I doing here? So, no combat sports for me.
No combat sports.
Thank you.
Thanks, man.
All right, last one here.
Last question.
Hi, my name is Tegan.
Hi, Tegan.
This is a question for both of you. Has your wife ever been mad that Felicity is your wife on stage?
No. I'm a huge fan of Emily. Couldn't like her more. And I think, as I mentioned earlier in the panel, coming from the industry as well, you know that it's pretend and it's fun, and in my opinion, it's not as romantic when I'm on set, because you're thinking about your angles and the camera and all that, and I like to see Oliver have a fun storyline, so I'm into it.
Cass is better at it than I am. because we were on the plane here last night, and she's scrolling through the movies, and she stops, and I'm like, you're not actually going to watch a Josh Duhamel movie, are you? That's not allowed when I'm sitting right next to you. You can watch those with your friends when I'm not home. You're not watching Life as We Know It on our flight to Nashville, Tennessee. So you do a much better job than I do. Thank you very much, Tegan.
Thank you.
And hey guys, I know that we were here last year, a little less than a year ago, right when we were starting to film season 6. I really hope that you guys dig the finale this week. I think it's really cool. I think it's visually interesting. I think it's unapologetic. And I think that it leaves everyone with a great deal of certainty with where every character is, except you might not like all the places that they are. So, but most importantly, never take for granted how lucky we are to have been able to do 6 seasons. It's because of people like you guys, and it's because of kids who introduce it to their parents, and parents who force their kids to watch it. And thank you guys so much. It means a great deal. Nashville, we love you.
Thank you so much, Nashville.